where Amitabh Bachchan had four, and Amitabh Bachchan was at the peak of stardom. He had four films releasing in four consecutive Fridays in 1978, and no one complained in those days. So when the ego factor comes into play, obviously you're not going to budge from your stand. You have the fan clubs of both the film stars, and they are fighting and grumbling and passing negative comments and abusing each other. And then when these factors come into play, where both the films are there, and then you pitch another film of yours, which is supposed to release in December, saying that if you want that film also, you need to play my film also. Then somewhere down the line, the exhibitors are wondering, where do we tilt towards Singham or towards Bhool Bhulaiyaa? हम अपने ही पैरों पे कुल्हाड़ी मार रहे हैं. Both the films should do 30, 35, 40 plus because it's a big holiday. These Ramsey brothers making those horror films, I know they were very profitable and lucrative in terms of numbers, in box office numbers, because my father used to be distributing those films. सबको किसी ना किसी बात का डर है, किसी को भूत प्रेत का डर है, and I think there's an audience that loves to watch that, क्योंकि जो आपके अंदर डर है, कहीं ना कहीं आपको बड़े पर्दे पर भी देख रहे हैं तो अच्छा लगता है देखना. अच्छा लगता है. So when I talk to a lot of exhibitors, they say हम तो हिंदी फिल्में नहीं चलाते, हम साउथ की फिल्में चलाते हैं. क्यों चलाते हैं? I ask them, because हिंदी फिल्मों में वो आप लोग मेट्रो सेंट्रिक बनाते हैं ना, 3-4 सिटीज को ध्यान में रखकर फिल्में बनाते हैं, और आपकी and to be very honest, there is a fact, ये एक्टर्स किन किन लोगों को खड़ा रखते हैं, इनको निकालो, अपनी सोच बदलो. People want to watch larger than life entertainers. Shah Rukh Khan did that with Pathan and Jawan. Don't forget that.
Taran Adarsh, welcome to CNN News 18.
Thank you very much, Vishal. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Same way, Taran. How are you first? I'm so happy to see you. Last year wasn't so very kind to you about your health, but glad to see you happy and healthy.
Thank you so much. God is kind, actually. All thanks to God. And I'm well alive, breathing, watching movies, writing about them. I think God is truly kind.
Thank you. Always wishing for your good health, Taran. But today we'll be talking about the big Diwali releases. Singham again and Bhool Bhulaiyaa 2 are releasing together in theatres.
Right.
How do you see this box office clash?
I think, to be very honest, the clashes are not new. We've seen them over the years, over the decades, actually. In fact, I was talking about the 1970s and how the clashes used to happen in those days, where Amitabh Bachchan had four, and Amitabh Bachchan was at the peak of stardom. He had four films releasing in four consecutive Fridays in 1978, and no one complained in those days. But over a period of time, and especially now in the recent times, you see a lot of bitterness, lot of negativity that has seeped into the industry. Within the industry as well as outside the industry. Within the industry, where the distributors and the exhibitors, distributors start fighting for screens and shows. Yeah, and the exhibitors are wondering whom to allot the shows, whom to allot the screens. And that becomes a problem. Then on the other hand, on social media, you have the fan clubs of both the film stars. And they are fighting and grumbling and passing negative comments and abusing each other. I think that is something that you have to learn to live with in today's times. But it's unfortunate. Cinema, and especially a movie which is about to release, and that too on a festive occasion like Diwali, it needs to be celebrated. But I guess we are living in different times. I mean, where negativity is come over everywhere, and today we are talking on Tuesday. Movie supposed to release on Friday, both the movies.
Yeah.
And still there is no settlement in sight as far as the screen allocation and the shows are concerned for both Bhool Bhulaiyaa 3 and Singham again.
But then, when we are today living in a time when most of the films are underperforming at the box office, how wise this is as a decision to release two films together, considering both having a potential of scoring big at the ticket window?
I completely endorse your point of view, where there is potential to score big numbers at the box office if they come soon. So the only thing is, we've had clashes in the past, and everyone wants to release during a festive period. So whenever you tell them why clash, you could go, maybe 2 weeks later or come 2 weeks early. The first question is, why should I do that? Why shouldn't the other person do it? So when the ego factor comes into play, obviously you're not going to budge from your stand. Secondly, uh, when two films, I mean, they have worked in the past. I mean, people may, talk of Lagan and Gadar and Dil and Ghayal, but the thing is that, in today's times and even in the past, I mean, there have been several instances where the films have worked at the box office, including last year, if you recall, during 15th August, there was Gadar 2 and OMG 2.
Yes.
They both worked at the box office. But the only problem is now that they're fighting for screens. And today, as I said, today we are sitting on a Tuesday. It's almost 5 o'clock right now. And then you have a Wednesday and Thursday, 2 days are pending. And then a movie release, both the movies release on Friday. And still, if there is no settlement in sight, and people are going to, let me add one more thing, Vishal. People are interested in watching both the films. Now the problem is that they go to the theaters. They ask the theaters, कि हमको ticket book करनी है. We want to book the tickets. And the theater people say, we don't know the shows. We don't know which film is releasing at what show should be given to you for Bhool Bhulaiyaa or for Singham. So the viewers who are coming to the theaters, hoping that they will buy the tickets, are going back without buying tickets. Now, ऐसा तो नहीं है कि सिर्फ फिल्में ही देखनी है. देर से चलो ठीक है बाद में देख लेंगे. Let's go out. अब तक सेटलमेंट हुआ नहीं इनका शायद, या पिक्चर पता नहीं कब रिलीज होगी, या कौन से स्क्रीन में आएगी, या कौन से शोज में आएगी. लेट्स गो आउट फॉर डिनर, लेट्स गो आउट फॉर अ आउटिंग, इंस्टेड ऑफ वाचिंग अ फिल्म. लॉस किसका हुआ, नुकसान किसका हुआ? द फिल्म इंडस्ट्री का, the distributors, the exhibitors, the producers who are warring even today. So I guess good sense prevails, and they realize that it's no point holding on to something which is futile. I guess they sit across the table like, I'm sure they must have done that also, but unfortunately there is no ray of hope.
Do you think we don't have many screens in the country? Or it's
we have many screens in the country. People want prime shows and prime properties to release their films. So, when you start bargaining, I need to get 60% and I need to get 50%. And then when these factors come into play, where both the films are there, and then you pitch another film of yours, which is supposed to release in December, saying that, if you want that film also, you need to play my film also. Then somewhere down the line, the exhibitors are wondering, where do we tilt? Towards Singham or towards Bhool Bhulaiyaa? So, that becomes a question mark for them, and they are still wondering. And then the programming department of theaters, screens, they are not able to decide yet. I mean, if you look at if you look at the ticketing portals, you'll realize that, they have opened advance booking. Both have announced, we have opened the advance booking. Okay, fine.
But Bhool Bhulaiyaa has only opened it for single screens.
That's what? You've opened, कहते हैं ना, चुनिंदा theaters, चुनिंदा शहरों के चुनिंदा theaters में आपने booking खोलते हैं, thinking you open the booking. Obviously, you've not made the film to release it in just a few screens and shows.
Yeah.
So let's not get into that. You need to have a proper release. The potential is there to strike gold at the box office during the Diwali week, but हम अपने ही पैरों पे कुल्हाड़ी मार रहे हैं.
But then, whom do you think audience will opt for? Do you think audience will like to go for a Kartik?
Audience would love to watch both the films. Audience would. I know of a lot of people, Vishal, where people have told me that we want to watch both the films, and they are non-film people. Forget you and me who are going to watch the film and write about them and review them and talk about them. But the fact is, the common man wants to watch both the films. Both are brand. Both are big films with solid cast, solid names attached to it, on screen, off screen. But कौन से सिनेमा में लग रही है, कौन से शो में आ रही है, कुछ पता नहीं है. When you go to the booking sites, also there's no listing of those.
Singham has opened their advance booking. Singham again.
Yeah, they have opened, but look at the ticketing sites. They have opened at a few cities and few properties. That's it.
Then do you think how important? Sorry, Taran, because last time Bhool Bhulaiyaa 2, when it was released, that they lowered the ticket prices of the
Right.
How important?
That I'm sure there's going to be hike right now, or maybe I don't know. It could be marginal hike also. But the fact remains that, first get the screens and shows in order. Divide the screens and shows equally, or 50, 60, 40, 55, 45, whatever the ratio you want to divide it at. But do it fast, because time is running out. You have only 2 days left. Friday, the day where people should know where हमें किस theater में जाना है और कहाँ कौन से show में हमें picture देखनी है. And if you lose that opportunity, it's going to hit you badly. Everyone realizes this, everyone knows this, but I don't understand why it's happening, and it has been stretched for quite some time now. I said this when I had said this in one of my articles earlier, that this is going to lead to a lot of bitterness. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. It has led to much more bitterness than what anyone would have anticipated at that point of time.
So then you are somebody who understands box office so well. What number do you like to predict today? The opening weekend.
Vishal, how can I predict the number when I don't know how many screens and shows would be?
Okay.
No one knows. No one, even the distributors, if you ask them, they'll say, well, we are in talks, let's see. But there is no settlement in sight yet. So we can throw any number we feel like. I mean, of course, आपके मुंह में जो आता है आप बोल दीजिए.
But do you see
that practically,
100 crore weekend?
Ideally, both of them should do 30, 35, 40 plus, because it's a big holiday. But the fact of the matter is that there is no settlement in sight yet, and they are still fighting, and they're still not arriving at a common ground where both the sides agree, yes, we'll take this screen and this screen and this show and this show. So that is a very unfortunate thing, especially now when it's the most beautiful period, the Festival of Lights, and there is potential for both the films to really strike gold at the box office.
But Taran, then which film do you think has a bigger potential or higher potential?
Both the films have potential.
Do you think Kartik Aaryan's Taran comedy can give a competition to
I genuinely feel, you and I can discuss about this at length, but the fact remains that जब Friday का पहला show खत्म होगा, it will be the Janta Janardan, the audience, who are the kingmakers.
But आपको trailer के, if you go look at just by the
I love both the trailers. To be very honest, I knew about the Ramayan factor in Singham again, and so when I saw it, I liked it. On the other hand, Bhool Bhulaiyaa 3 is again a big franchise. Horror comedies are flavor of the season. Munja has worked, and so has 3-2, of course. वो तो खैर अलग ही level पे थी. And then, as far as horror and supernatural is concerned, there was Shaitan earlier, and then Tumbad, a re-release horror film, did so well at the box office. So now all eyes are on this film, which is a horror comedy. Obviously, it should rake in big money, big box office numbers. But the thing is, if I feel there should have been some sufficient gap between the two films, but then we can only say all this on camera, but when the decision makers who don't want to let go of this Diwali period, well, I think they are the final authority.
Then Taran, like you said, this year Shaitan, Munja, 3-2, even Tumbad, which was re-released few weeks ago, managed to attract audiences in the large number. Will we see now a wave of many spooky horror films coming?
I wish they do that. In the 70s and 80s, Vishal, we had these Ramsey brothers making those horror films. I'm sure you must have watched it.
Yes.
I know they were very profitable and lucrative in terms of numbers, in box office numbers, because my father used to be distributing those films in one of the territories. And they were extremely popular with the audiences, and they worked at the box office big time. Every time a Ramsey film was announced, it used to be lapped up by distributors, and they had an audience for it, and they did so well at the box office. And unfortunately, after that, this genre of horror films, Ram Gopal Verma did try making Bhoot and those films. But the thing is, no one, a few filmmakers here and there maybe must have tried. I'm not denying that. But we are making masala films, we are making biopics, we are making socially relevant films, we are making topical films, we are making horror comedies, lots and lots of genres have been explored, except for this genre.
I was about to ask you because interestingly, this week, like in few days, there'll be Halloween, and Purana Mandir, Ramsay's film, will be
Yeah, yeah,
completing
yeah.
40 years. Have just completed 40 years a few weeks ago.
Achha.
Why do you think we haven't produced many horror films after Ramsay Brothers?
You know, that's a question that still baffles me. Yeah, you mentioned Purana Mandir. My father was a distributor of that film, and we made tons of
We
money.
made a lot of money. 84 May, it was one of the highest grossers.
Yeah. I know it because my father was a distributor and I used to check the accounts. So I know whether those films did very well in the box office, but unfortunately, I don't know why this genre was never tapped. You know, I feel very sad because you know वो कहते हैं ना हमारे हम सबको किसी ना किसी बात का डर है कोई एक डर अंदर बैठा हुआ है किसी को भूत प्रेत का डर है और you know हमारी दादी नानी माय नानी used to tell me stories about बाहर नहीं जाना रात को you know या किसी के हाथ का लड्डू कोई दे स्ट्रेंजर लड्डू दे तो खाना नहीं you know all those things used to when I was a child these things were told to me and I you know and the thing is you know those kind of stories and which Ramsay brothers used to make and people used to love and enjoy and watch it again. I don't know why film producers and directors never made those kind of films. And you know, over a period of time, I feel that we have forgotten this genre or we have sidelined it completely. This genre, but needs to be revisited by us. And I think there's an audience that loves to watch that. क्योंकि जो आपके अंदर डर है कहीं ना कहीं आपको बड़े पर्दे पर भी देख रहे हैं तो अच्छा लगता है देखना. I knew the family well because as I said my father was a distributor. Yeah. So I knew Tulsi Ram se, Sham Ram se, Gangu Ram se, Keshu Ram se.
Sindhis of Bombay made a beeline.
Yes. From Grant Road. And our office was also in Grant Road, Nas Cinema Compound. So it was a very close proximity with them. And at the same time, being associated business-wise over a period of time, I think it was a very, very win-win situation for both of us. But having said that, I would love to revisit. In fact, I want to revisit now that you mentioned Purana Mandir, Veerana, Samri, you know, Do Gaz Zameen Ke Niche. I'll find out where which digital platform or where it's playing in it. They were very well, how do I put it, very well Indianized for the common man in those days to understand and comprehend and grasp it. And I think because and people knew, you know, कभी कभार ऐसा लगता था कि when I think of those days, I think कि इसमें कैसे डर लगता था, पर लगता था when you know the skeletons निकल रहे हैं, दरवाजा खुल रहा है, crack और करके आवाज आ रही है, and then one hand coming out or Samri's face with red light and blue light on his face, you know all these things, and I remember watching. There was a distributor screening. I must tell you this of this movie called Hotel, and I was watching it, Ramsay Brothers screen, and I was sitting like this. I was so terrified during that. But now when I look back, you know, I feel ऐसा तो क्या था? But in those days, that really worked.
I hope they make more. But you know, Taran, like you said, you have seen many phases of Indian cinema. Right from the time when mythological films were working, to the time when Bollywood were making
we should make mythological films also. I don't know why we don't make it.
They tried with Adi Purush, but they didn't.
Adi Purush, sorry,
but they also attempted, like they made Jai Santoshi Maa.
Yes, I have memories of that film. I have such wonderful memories, Vishal.
But they remade it in 2007 or 8.
I've seen with my own eyes. People go with Aarti ki thali and praying when you know in the theater premises. You know, we talk of theaters turning into stadiums where when a sports-based film comes in. But in those days, I've seen with my own eyes. I have also gone there. And लोग चप्पल निकाल के theater में enter करते थे to watch Jai Santoshi Maa. And you know, it released around the same time as Sholay, and it gave, you know, a tough fight to Sholay in those days. And imagine, that was the magic of that particular film.
But you know, if talking about the last few decades, you know, there was a time when romantic comedies were working. Then came the time when Bollywood stories became real. And then we were making sequels. And there were only hit films that were coming. Then we started making remakes.
You know,
Now it looks like we are going in an era where we are only producing flop films.
I think we are to blame for that, Vishal. What has happened is that our core strength of our industry is masala entertainment. There was a dialogue of Vidya Balan in Dirty Picture: entertainment, entertainment, entertainment. That is so true. You know why? Because even in the 70s, I'm a 65 born, and I have seen that 70s era. And we used to watch only masala entertainment. There used to be masala entertainer. There was art house cinema, but very few films of Shyam Benegal ji and Govind Nilani ji used to release in very 2 or 3 theaters of Mumbai. But in those days, masala films ruled, and how. And today I feel that we've lost that track. And South never did that. So when I talk to a lot of exhibitors, by exhibitors I mean the theater people, they say, "हम तो हिंदी फिल्में नहीं चलाते, हम साउथ की फिल्में चलाते हैं." क्यों चलाते हैं? I asked them because they said कि of course आपको चलाने का पूरा हक है, but क्यों, क्या रीजन है कि आप हिंदी फिल्में नहीं चलाते? इसी बिकॉज हिंदी फिल्मों में वो आप लोग मेट्रो सेंट्रिक बनाते हैं ना, 3-4 सिटीज को ध्यान में रखकर फिल्में बनाते हैं, और आपकी and to be very honest here, there is a fact. We think of 3-4 movies in metros and make those kind of films, and then you think of pleasing the critics to get those favorable reviews, and there are people in your office who are intellectual types and who tell you, oh, this is what people want to watch nowadays, and then your business goes for a toss. Then there are then I believe I was talking to a producer, a very well-known producer. He mentioned, I went to an actor before Jawan release. Actually, he mentioned this, and it stayed in my memory. He said, before Jawan release, I went to an actor, a very well-known actor, and I told him, this is a masala film I want to make. So he said, okay, let me get back to you. And the next meeting when he went there were 3-4 people, his staff of the actor sitting there, and said, oh, this is very 70s, this is very 80s, this is, who wants to watch masala films? All these songs, they are very Bollywoodish. Now, what is Bollywoodish?
Make it so contemporary.
Oh, make it so contemporary. अरे यार, तुम लोग ये एक्टर्स किन-किन लोगों को खड़ा रखते हैं? इनको निकालो, अपनी सोच बदलो. People want to watch larger than life entertainers. Shah Rukh Khan did that with Pathan and Jawan. Don't forget that. Ranveer Kapoor did that with Animal. Don't forget that. Sunny Deol did that with Gadar 2. कहाँ हैं आप? कौन सी दुनिया में हैं आप? And these 3-4 actors जो है ना, one second, let me continue. ये पता नहीं कोई अलग planet पे बैठे. आप वहीं बैठिए. इसलिए आपकी लाइन में flops आ रही है, और खुश रहिए उन flops के साथ.
So then you're saying Bollywood today need a new Kader Khan?
No, I'm not saying you need a new Kader Khan. Make masala films.
I'm saying Kader Khan.
मैं जा रहा हूँ, मुझे एक थाली खानी है और आप मुझे बॉइल्ड फूड दे रहे हैं. कैसे चलेगा? गले से भी नहीं उतरेगा.
I'm saying, जैसे Kader Khan ji used to write dialogues. Do you think that is what is missing?
भाई डायलॉग बाजी सलीम जावेद के डायलॉग देखिए, या फॉर दैट मैटर कादर खान का आपने जिक्र किया, उनके डायलॉग्स देखिए. 1970s की फिल्में देखिए, एक से एक डायलॉग्स होते थे, एक से एक मसाला एंटरटेनर्स होते. And you enjoy those entertainers even today. I watch those films. To be very honest, on the digital platforms, I don't watch any new film. Any new film just doesn't impress me at all. I revisit the old classics. I recently, sometime back, I saw Chupke Chupke.
Rishikesh Mukherjee.
3 or 4 weeks ago, I saw Sholay. I have seen it 100 times. Few weeks ago, I saw Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. I was watching a few films of Rashi productions that were made in 70s and 80s. Beautiful films.
But Taran, in 2001, Farhan Akhtar with Dil Chahta Hai, Raju Hirani with Munna Bhai MBBS, Dibakar Banerjee with Khosla Ka Ghosla, Imtiaz Ali with Socha Na Tha and Jab We Met, Anurag Kashyap, Suji Sarkar and Sujoy Ghosh with their films. Really, there are some disruptors who changed the course of Indian cinema.
I'm not denying that. We need to have all kinds of stories. We need we need to watch different kinds of films. I'm not denying that. But our core strength, after you switched off this conversation, talk to any distributor, talk to any exhibitor. एग्जिबिटर किसी भी थिएटर वाले से बात करिए, टेल देम कि कौन सी फिल्म का, एक तरफ इनके कुछ फिल्में हैं जो आप रिलीज करना चाहेंगे, या दूसरी तरफ एक मसाला फिल्म लाइक जवान, पठान, वो रिलीज करना चाहेंगे, और दर्शक कहाँ आ रहे हैं, कौन सी फिल्म देखना चाहते हैं. You need to serve the audience what they want to watch. आपको क्या पसंद है उन पे मत थोपिए. They are not interested. They are just not interested in those kind of films. बंद करिए यार ऐसी फिल्मों को बनाना.
But then, do you think then budgets are failing or the scripts are failing?
Budgets are also failing. Scripts are failing. It's not just one thing that's happening. All these factors put together have happened. So I guess we need to change. We need to make it more affordable. By affordable, making a movie is affordable. Releasing a film in theaters should be more affordable. Ticket prices, that should be affordable. And F&B in the theaters should be also affordable. 200 और 300 रुपए का पॉपकॉर्न लेने के लिए कोई नहीं जाएगा. You're losing out on business.
Then you're saying Bollywood needs a big shake-up. Is that what you're saying?
Bollywood needs an overhaul. I mean, you need to pull up your socks. You need to think. Audience को वापस थिएटर में लाना, उसके लिए क्या करना चाहिए?
Then, and finally, Karan, what are your expectations from the other big releases of the year? Pushpa 2, Baby John.
Vishal, I'm an optimist. And I would genuinely hope that all films do well. It's very important for the survival of the film industry. It is very important for the health of the industry that our films work at the box office. एक चीज हमेशा याद रखनी कि बॉक्स ऑफिस से बड़ा वैलिडेशन कोई नहीं. आपको जो स्टार्स मिलते हैं बाय क्रिटिक्स, सॉरी मैं भी स्टार देता हूँ, वो सवेरे फ्राइडे सवेरे 12-1 बजे तक मायने रखते. They hold value till 12 o'clock or 1 p.m. on Friday afternoon. After that, every actor, every producer is interested to know मेरा पहला दिन कितना लगेगा, मेरा सेकंड डे कितना लगेगा, मेरा थर्ड डे कितना लगेगा, मेरा लाइफ टाइम कितना होगा, मेरा वीक वन कितना होगा, मेरी फिल्म कितना कमाएगी, कितना नुकसान. That's all that matters. आपके ईगो के लिए बहुत अच्छा है मुझे 4 स्टार मिले और 5 स्टार मिले, बट इवेंचुअली सिक्कों की खनक से ज्यादा हमारे कानों के लिए कोई सुरीली आवाज नहीं.
Well, we are having high hopes now from Singham again and Bhool Bhulaiyaa 3.
Yes, that's crossed.
Fingers crossed. Happy Diwali to you in advance.
Happy Diwali and a very prosperous New Year to you and to all the viewers who watch this show.
Thank you so much for talking to me and all the best, Taran.
Thank you very much, Vishal. Pleasure.
Thank you.